Hey everyone, and welcome to another episode of UnMasked, where we go into the stories of people who battle depression and mental health issues. Today I have a very special guest, former Arizona Cardinal, Ohio State Buckeye, and most importantly, my MFAM brother, Branden Bowen. Man, how are you?
I'm good, man. How are you? I'm glad to be here. Glad to be here.
I'm glad to have you here, man. How's things with you?
Good.
Yeah.
Everything's been going pretty well. You know, getting the grind on in life, as they say. So it's been good. It's been good. Staying busy.
Nice. You're in off-season training now, right?
Yes. Yeah. Right in the middle of it. It's full bore.
That's awesome.
Every morning.
Yeah, I don't know how you do it, man. Like, I mean, at my age, I can barely get up in the morning, but yeah.
I'm starting to feel that way myself too. I can't even lie.
Well, I mean, for those of you that audience that doesn't know you, who was the 30-second pitch on Branden Bowen?
Oh man, I haven't been asked something like this in a while. I would say, man, a person of all different cultures, different. I've seen a lot. I've experienced a lot. I've experienced both sides of major issues personally. I'm a caring person. I'm a protective person. Really, obviously, that comes with my position in football. Yeah. But I really care for people. I really want to help people in life, and whole lot of family behind me that instilled in me that you just don't want to live life for yourself. You want to live life for others too. So
yeah.
I guess that's my spiel.
That's awesome, man. That's awesome. All right, well, let's talk about your history with mental health. I mean, what is your earliest memory of? Because I know we previously we discussed, you had a rough time in college with like the injury and stuff, and more recently, you've had some. We'll call them dark times, but what is your earliest memory of your depression?
Summer going into my freshman year, I believe I was 14. Yeah, so that was probably the earliest.
Wow, what was that? What was it like? I mean, what's that thought process? That you just thought something was like off? You would
Yeah. So what had happened was I've grown up in sports all my life. My mother was a college basketball player. My father played rugby in college. So I've kind of always been about sports, always been doing sports, keeping busy doing baseball, basketball, football, track and field. You name it, I was playing it. And but my big two were football and basketball. Those are my goals. Those are the two that I really wanted to hone in on and focus on.
Yeah.
And then going into my freshman year of high school, I started to lift. And when you start to lift, when you have really bad coaches around you that don't teach you how to lift, naturally you mess yourself up. So we're doing, as a 14-year-old, I'm over here doing power cleans, not knowing what I'm doing. Yeah. Ended up throwing my back out. I had 2 bulge discs in my the lumbar region of my back, and that kind of set me out my entire freshman year of football, as well as half of my basketball season. And at this point, I was probably more into basketball than I was football. So first of all, having football taken away from me, and then at the beginning of the basketball season to be sitting on the bench when I'm coming in as a freshman, and I'm supposed to be the guy. I was recruited to this high school. I was supposed to be the guy who was this great basketball player coming in, starting immediately as a freshman. All of a sudden, I'm hurt. I'm nobody. Like I'm doing nothing. I haven't even practiced with the team yet. And I just remember this overwhelming feeling of just being lost, I guess would be the best way to describe it. I felt so lost. I felt like nobody could really understand my pain, even though there's probably millions of people that could understand what I was going through, especially at a high school level.
Yeah.
But it was just kind of a darker time. My brain at the time couldn't really comprehend what was going on and like what was truly so during this time I didn't really think it was just depression. I thought I was just messed up.
Yeah.
Like, oh, this is just normal. I just got to stop being stop being a bitch, basically, man up type of thing.
Yeah.
And so yeah, that I would say that was my earliest, and I think most frankly my most vivid memory of depression.
Damn.
In my past.
That's a lot for a 14-year-old kid.
Yeah.
That's a lot.
No, it was different, and also to add in there, like to have my, you know, like I said, my family are all sports people. I had Olympic volleyball playing aunts. Yeah. My grandpa and my grandma didn't really do too much, but my aunts and uncles and my mom big on sports.
Yeah.
And to they kind of saw me as this dude that was gonna be like, this guy's gonna be it. Like, he's professional guaranteed. And then to go through that, I felt like I was letting everybody down. Yeah. And so it was like, before I even really have pressure on me like you do in college and the pros, I'm 14 years old feeling like I have the world on my shoulders. Yeah. Thinking I'm going to disappoint my whole family, everybody.
Dude.
So it was definitely different.
That's rough. That's rough. Did anyone like notice that, you might have been depressed, or like, you were down? Like,
No.
No?
No. So one of the things about me is and I don't know where I kind of learned this from, but when I go through things, and I still do it to this day, and it's a terrible habit that I'm working to get through as we speak still. Yeah. When I go through things, my mother was a single mother growing up, didn't really have my dad around until I was older in life. So I kind of saw her struggle growing up. She worked 3 jobs when we lived in Tennessee. And never complained, never said a word, never let me even know that we were hurting like that.
Yeah.
And so to grow up with somebody like that in your life, I want to say it was almost impossible for me to think any other way.
Yeah.
Like she's doing all this on her own. Why can't I?
Yeah.
Like, that's my mom. That's everything to me. That's exactly who I want to be. So I kind of took the approach of assuring others around me that I was fine.
Yeah.
Like, doing everything I could, the smiles, the laughing, the normal conversation. I kind of trained myself to flip a switch in my brain to all of a sudden, quote unquote, not be depressed. But really, I mean, obviously that doesn't just go away.
I get it.
But yeah, so I don't think anybody really ever knew. I've talked to my mom about it. She didn't notice. And like I said, I can't blame her, because I hid it so well. I mean, it would just be me and myself in my room. That was the only time I showed it.
Damn. So how do you internalize something like that, especially at such a young age, man? Like, that's crazy to me.
Yeah. I think the craziest part is I don't think I ever did. I don't think I ever really faced it at that age. I don't think I ever really tried to fix anything or anything. I just kind of waited for the better times to roll around, as they naturally do.
Yeah.
And kind of just kept it pushing. And with that, and I'm not saying this like it was a good thing, because what it caused is just a whole lot of more issues down the road, where I'm dealing with things where this is supposed to have been taken care of. Like, I'm not supposed to be dealing with this in college and high school and all of that. So
you took this these feelings into your early college years as well, like even before you stepped on the field.
Absolutely. I think one of the biggest things for me was anxiety. I had a lot of anxiety, and it would get to the point where it was almost crippling. Like, I didn't really want to. I was so scared to do things that I just wouldn't do them. Just avoid. That was my big thing. I would just, hey, if I just avoid it, I don't got to deal with it.
Yeah, man.
Probably the worst way you could go about things like that, but it was just in my 18-year-old, 17-year-old brain. If I just keep it pushing, I'll be all right.
Hey, man, I read your old scouting reports, man. Like, that's they say the complete opposite. Like, you just go out there and you just do it, man. Like,
Yeah. Like, and that's what's weird about football is for some reason when I play football, it's kind of a switch.
Yeah.
But I mean, that's also to an extent, because I think mental health plays a massive role in athletes and their level of play and their performance and all that. So it's tricky.
So, I mean, prior to starting at Ohio State, I don't know why I can't speak today. Did you try and get like help? Did you see a therapist? You speak to anyone before that?
So I distinctly remember starting in the summer of 2017 before I earned my starting job, and that was, I think, led me into what was the best 2 months of my life. One of the best 2 months of my life, I would say. I definitely wouldn't say it was the best two, but one of the best two. But yeah, I finally decided I don't even know if there was a big movement with mental health quite yet, as big as it is now, obviously. But
yeah, I
just kind of got so tired and fed up with one, my thoughts, but also where I was at in life. I was going into my third year and I was going to be a backup again, and kind of just a look in the mirror moment and reevaluate everything. And I think it was a moment of growth. It's a moment I had to decide to grow up as a person, as a man, and as an athlete. Yeah. And yeah.
What was that process like for you? Like you said, you had this epiphany. This realization that quote unquote, you have to grow up.
Yeah.
What was that process like? What did it look like?
Well, I know for a fact my coaches were a big help.
Yeah.
They called me out on my shit before anything. So, as my depression started to get worse, as my anxiety started to get worse, my grades started to drop naturally. My play on the field starts to drop naturally. And so we finally, my coach finally pulled me into his office, probably his sixth time that off season.
Yeah.
For my grades or something like that. And I kind of just broke down and was like, Coach, I don't know what's wrong with me. Because he's drilling into me like, why can't you just do your assignments? Just do it. It's so easy. Just do this. Just do this. It's all mapped out for you if you just do it. And I just looked at him and I was like, I just can't. I don't know why. I don't know why I feel this way. I don't know what's going on. I just can't anymore. And so he grabbed me and told me, hey, we're gonna. And this is a coach that I would say to this day I don't really like, but I have so much respect for him for this moment. And he grabbed me, pulled me in with our head coach. We talked about it, talked it out, talked about the next steps. We have a team psychiatrist that we work with, and he's a great dude, Dr. Gray, or Dr. Graves, and it was. They finally got me into him. We did all the testing, all that. All of a sudden, I find out I have ADHD too.
Oh wow! Hey, me too.
So we get me on the meds for those, and I'm completely different world. Yeah. I'm talking to him weekly, almost sometimes bi-weekly. Sometimes he would just be in there, and hey, I'm having a terrible day. Can I come talk to you?
Yeah.
And it just made me realize just how stupid I was, in a sense. And I don't want to say stupid as in other people are stupid for doing and thinking like I did, but it's just natural. It's what our brain wants to do. It's what we think is right. And to finally get that satisfaction and that relief. I mean, even in just our first session of me just talking to him about my what I'm feeling. Yeah. It was like, whoa, this dude has the answers. He knows what's going on. He is listening to me. And it's this complete stranger. Keep in mind, this is our team psychiatrist. Never met the guy. This is my third year. I might have brushed past him and said hello, but never really met the guy. Yeah. And then 30 minutes later, after meeting him, I'm sitting in his office bawling to this stranger. Yeah. It's this person I never knew. Yeah. Telling him all these things I felt like I could never tell anybody, including my mom, including my best friends, including everybody. I mean, it was a trip. It's a really weird experience when you finally decide to take that step. Well, really weird and gratifying, I would say.
Well, I mean, up until that point, you've been carrying around all this shit since you were 14 years old. You've had no outlet. You couldn't tell your mom, because you couldn't tell your dad because your dad wasn't around all that much. It's as all just all bottles up. It just all comes out at once.
Absolutely.
But
Absolutely.
no, that's awesome though. So being in the college football locker room, like, do you think did you notice other guys going through similar stuff? Like, were they seeing the psychiatrist? Like, what's the general attitude towards mental health in the locker room? Was it?
So probably in 2017 when I first started going to see him wasn't I guess very much talked about. I would say it was embraced for sure. Like in the locker room, that was one thing that we really made clear at Ohio State, was that we're brothers and we can really talk about anything. And obviously to my extent that wasn't true. I didn't feel like I could do that. But we do have those conversations. My best friend now used to go see him all the time. He's the one who actually, I think, planted the seed in my head of finally, going to see him.
Yeah.
And I think I don't think it's as widely talked about or as recognized as it should be. I think it will be after this year. I don't know if you saw. I actually do want to try to get you in contact with one of my former teammates. The story just came out I want to say 3 weeks ago. He medically retired because of his depression. He was the 5-star kid out of Georgia. He started it all last year.
Yeah.
And I mean, so I think after this year it will be taken a lot more seriously. But to hear how our coaches handled that situation and did all the things to help Harry that they did, it's really kind of a sense of it just makes you feel good. Like, wow, okay, that's a good place. That's a place that knows how to handle these issues and isn't just ignoring them like a lot of places do, a lot of professional teams do.
Yeah.
Like a lot of college teams do. I mean, it's just a part of the business.
Yeah.
I guess it is what they say.
I mean, that's a whole nother discussion. But, So 2017, you have it was a pretty bad injury.
Yeah. It was brutal.
What's going through your mind there? I mean, you finally got back to a good place mentally, and then this happens. Like,
so I would say the first 2 weeks afterwards were extremely good. Yes, there was sadness, and like damn, my whole season's gone. Like, of course, naturally you have those reactions and things like that. But I don't think I ever felt too depressed about it in a sense, or too anxious about it. In my head, it was, I'm thinking a year in the future already. I'm fully healed. I'll be right back. I'll be doing exactly what I'm doing.
Yeah.
No big deal. It's going to be a great recovery. We have one of the best PTs in America on our training staff. I'll be all right. Following that, I would say once I started my rehab was when my mental health really took a dive, and a dive I think it was probably worse than when I was 14.
Oh, wow.
And I think it was because of those emotions that I still had that I didn't deal with, even going and seeing a therapist in 2017. I think it kind of made me just slip back into that old mind state of I don't need help. I can do this on my own. I'm already burdening enough people that I have a broken leg, and now I'm here just doing nothing, just collecting a check for my rent every month or every 2 weeks, and then doing nothing. So kind of my bad. I kind of forgot where I was going at that point. But yeah, sorry, my bad. I forgot where I was going with that.
There you go. But so were you still seeing the therapist during this time?
No.
So
during the season was kind of actually during camp. I kind of used the excuse of I'm too busy.
Yeah.
And also I don't need this anymore. At that point, I felt like I was in a good place in life. I was in a good place with myself, and I was kind of content. And so I didn't think I really needed it anymore. And so I hadn't seen him all season up until that point. And after I broke my leg, didn't see him. So,
yeah,
it was interesting.
So even when you were like, you felt yourself slipping, it's like, you're back into your old mindset. You didn't feel that, you needed to reach out to him or anything.
I think when I got farther into my rehab process, so once, I guess I got to give a little backstory. So when I was starting at Ohio State, everyone in the building looks at you as that guy.
Yeah.
Like, you're that guy. You're the starter. Like, you're the dude that runs out every Saturday and does what needs to get done to get the win. And the coaches look at you that way. The players look at you that way. The fans look at you that way. Everybody does. And as soon as I broke my leg, I was no longer that guy. And that had gotten so built up in my head that I was this guy. And, like, I don't want to say it was a cocky thing, more of a just being confident thing, like a cocky confident type of thing. And my bad. Can you go back to the original question? Sorry, my son's knocking upstairs and distracted me.
No, you're good. So when you felt yourself slipping back into old thoughts, like your old mindset, like you didn't reach out to.
Yeah. So I had, with that being said, of that feeling kind of going away. My coaches didn't really interact with me the same. Specifically, my head coach treated me completely different than he had when I was a starter. So at that point, I kind of just stopped trusting everybody.
Yeah.
And not purposefully, but my friends I didn't stop seeing my friends as much, obviously, because I'm not practicing. I'm in rehab all day, going to school, then immediately rehab the rest of the day. And then, while they're watching film and stuff, I'm doing whatever, doing bullshit. And so I'm not seeing them as much. And in my head, I kind of took that as they don't fuck with me as much. They don't like me as much.
Yeah.
Now that I'm not a starter. So my trust was kind of just really broken with everybody around me. And that included Dr. Graves. And I just felt like I was on my own again. Kind of just right back to when I was 14. I had nobody to go to, didn't really feel like I could reach out to anybody. And I kind of just took it in my head as, you just got to do this on your own. Like kind of get ready. Like it's going to be a tough ride, but you got to do it by yourself. So I kind of put myself into that mind state.
So, during this period, what was, your darkest moment here, like the part where you thought, fuck, I don't know what I'm doing. I don't know if I'm going to make it through this shit.
Oh, man. Darkest moment. I would probably say 2018. And that being said, because I didn't come back from my injury, turns out my injury had never fully healed. I went and got a second opinion. Ended up it was never fully healed. My fibula was still in half.
Yeah.
So I had to get another surgery. Yeah. And I would say right after I found out that I had to have another surgery and just how long I was going to be out again, I think that really just kind of was the kicker and finally put me in the dumps, because prior to that, I'm running in the summer. I'm doing our team runs, doing everything. My leg still hurts, but nothing I can't handle, type of thing.
Yeah.
We get into camp, we start playing football. Leg starts hurting much worse. About a weekend, I was like, I don't know if I can do this anymore. Second weekend, I was done. I couldn't do it anymore.
Yeah.
My leg just couldn't handle it anymore. And I think at that point in time in my head, I was like, I don't know if I'll ever play football again. I don't know if I'll ever touch the field again. Like, because first of all, nobody knows how a player's going to come back from injury.
Yeah.
Second of all, I'm about to have 2 years off of football, and I can't remember the last time I've taken 2 years off of sports. Probably since I was born. Or probably since I was 3. I started T-ball at 3 was the first thing I did.
Wow.
So it was I would definitely say that time after realizing I had to have that second surgery, I just didn't really I kind of touched on a lost feeling when I was 14.
Yeah.
It was like I was lost times 100. Because now I'm 22. I'm 22, and I have everything in my life has been invested in football. I have, I'm on my way to a great degree, but I'm not really listening to those classes.
Yeah, no one is.
For the most part.
Yeah,
I mean, just to keep it completely 100, I wasn't paying attention. I have to go play football. I want to be a professional football player. That's what I came to Ohio State for. I can get an education anywhere.
Yeah.
But to play football at one of the most prestigious schools in the country is rare. So
yeah.
It was definitely a lost feeling.
How did you? How'd you battle your way through that? How did you pull yourself out of that funk?
My wife.
Your wife?
I met my wife luckily in 2016, and I tell her all the time I wouldn't have made it through any of this without her. I met her late 2016. I actually broke my leg on her birthday.
Wow.
October 7th, 2017. I think she had 9 guests there. All of her best friends. Everybody was there. She was in a little sash with a tiara. Snapped my leg in half. She sprint. They wouldn't let her in the back of the ambulance because we technically weren't related.
Yeah.
She sprinted from the stadium to the hospital and made it there as they were carting me into the hospital.
Damn.
It was unbelievable.
That's love, man.
Yeah. No, but she was really just there for me.
Yeah.
And at the time, I wouldn't have said that at the time. I mean, yeah, she was there for me, but I wouldn't have said to the extent that I do now.
Yeah.
I was in such a dark place. I couldn't really see happiness. Couldn't really see, it's going to be okay. But she always kind of kept my head straight. She made sure I wasn't slipping into those states. She wouldn't let me lie about how I was feeling. Like, it's the weirdest thing. Yeah. She's the only person that knows me in life that can tell when I'm really that can tell when I'm putting on that front.
Yeah.
That my mom can't figure out, that my friends can't figure out, that all these people can't figure out. She's the only person that can figure that out. And she will bother the hell out of me until I tell her what is exactly wrong with me.
Man,
so she just and she's had her own battles with depression. I mean, it's her issues and battles that she's gone through are some of the most inspirational things I've ever seen. I mean, it's hard not to see that and want to do the same thing and want to want that for yourself, because that's the biggest thing. I mean, people can want it for you all you want, but it doesn't matter until you truly believe it. Yeah. I've gone to therapy before and faked my way through it.
Yeah,
it is what it is.
Can't believe
you have to want it for yourself.
Yeah. And you can't bullshit your wife either. She'll call you on that.
No,
mine does the same thing.
She'll kill you. Yeah. Absolutely.
My wife's the same way, man. Like, if she can tell what I'm having, going through a shitty patch, I'll just be like, yeah, I'm fine. She's like, shut the fuck up. Tell me what's wrong. I'm like,
exactly.
Okay.
Right. Right. That bullshit is not flying with her.
Yeah.
No.
Exactly right.
Yeah.
But yeah, man, like, yeah, you made it through it.
Yes.
You go back on the field. What?
Yeah.
What was that moment like for you?
Yeah. Man, the first time running out back into Ohio Stadium as a starter was one of the most different feelings I've ever felt in my life. And I can't describe it fully, but it was as I was running out, somebody captured an amazing picture of it. It was actually one of my wife's friends took a picture of me. She's a professional photographer and has like the field access and all that, and got this picture of me running out of the tunnel. My arms out, I'm acting like I'm flying like an airplane, and it was just like this overwhelming sense of bliss, kind of making everything that I went through worth it. And it kind of made me just thankful. It didn't make me spiteful in any way. I didn't ever feel like my injury was something that was bad for me. I think it was something that I needed at the time because I had so many mental health issues. And without that, I don't know if I would have ever really faced them.
Yeah.
And I mean, when you're injured, you got so much time. You're just sitting on your ass. Yeah. All you have is your own thoughts to think about. So, yeah. I mean, it was just a moment of pure bliss and happiness, and almost like a kid again.
Yeah.
Felt like I was 10 years old, playing football with my friends in the backyard, and I'm just this overwhelming sense of thankfulness.
I mean, it's got to be an amazing feeling. Though. It's like, I mean, your first bad injury, when you're a teenager, and then it's, you break your leg, you're going through depression since a kid. That's got to be a huge weight off your shoulders when you get back on that field.
Yeah.
That's got to be awesome.
Yeah. Yeah. No, and I think also a big part of one of the things that I thought about a lot while I was injured was proving people wrong. It's kind of what I've been doing my whole life. I mean, when I was growing up, I was always just a big kid I was big. That was probably it. like I'm talking like in middle school. Parents would make comments like he has his size for nothing. Like my mom would hear stuff like that all the time from parents, and so being able to prove people wrong my whole life. Now I have this whole new obstacle in front of me where I'm this 5th-year senior that hasn't played since his 3rd season, and you have, in my position, I had a 5-star behind me. This 5-star kid, coming in, he already played his freshman year in 2018 as a backup. This is going to be the guy. He's got to be the starter. So everyone around me, this guy's a starter. This guy's a starter. There's no way Bowen's coming back. There's no way any of this is happening. Like, he'll be a great sixth offensive lineman for us. Yada yada yada. So finally, I just was so. That was one of my best feelings of excuse my language, fuck you, like fuck everybody.
Yeah.
Like nah, I'm still me.
Yeah.
Like, and I'm still here, and I'm still doing what I used to do, and so it was just that part for me was just huge. I mean, it's just to not only prove to them, but in a sense, not me realizing at the time, I proved to myself. I didn't think I could do it when I was going through it, but now that I did it, it's like, whoa. Like, yeah, I proved all these people wrong, but wow, I just proved myself wrong. I didn't think I was going to make it through that. And here we are. Crazy. 4 years later. Man,
that is incredible, man. That's such a fucking awesome story.
Definitely.
So, leaving Ohio State, unsure about what your future's going to be like. How did that affect your mindset there? Were you going to play in the NFL? Were you going to go do something else?
So at that point in time, I had already known that my NFL dreams were very well and alive. I didn't know if I was going to get drafted. I always me as a person, what I always like to do is expect the worst. I'll always think the worst is coming. Yeah, absolutely. Because I'm like, if I just think the worst is coming, it can't be worse than the worst.
Yeah.
What, am I going undrafted? Okay.
Yeah.
So that was kind of my approach going into the draft. I think the biggest thing for me was those 3 days were the worst 3 days ever. I think my anxiety went to another level during the draft day. And it was all for nothing because I didn't get drafted anyways. So it was definitely interesting. Yeah.
And then you ended up at Arizona for a bit.
Yeah. So I originally my process was a little different. I signed with an agent that I met my biggest mentor and my trainer in high school. He worked with when he was in the NFL. He had a real similar story to mine. Comeback kid, all that. So he kind of pointed me in his direction, and I was like, if he trusts him, I'm no questions asked.
Yeah.
I'm signing the piece of paper. Where is it? Like, give me it. And it was a pretty big agency, flashy. They got Bradley Beal. They got the head coach of the Falcons. They got all these like big names on their thing. So I'm like, I gotta go with these guys. Well, 2 months into my 2 months into my process, after I got back from my training in Exos, I kind of realized, like, man, these people really don't care about me. And so finally decided to part ways. I ended up going and seeing my now biggest mentor in my life, and really a father figure to me, LaCharles Bentley. He's out here in Chandler, Arizona. He reached out to me while I was sitting in Ohio doing – this was right when the pandemic hit.
Yeah.
So everything shut down like that March, right in between when I was I was transitioning from Exos to out here in Chandler, Arizona. So that was kind of a weird process for me. Kind of hurt my trust a little bit again, where it's like, this, like, sure, I didn't really know this guy. That was a dumb decision, but my mentor, who I look up to, suggested this guy. And he's over here, he doesn't care about me. He's not doing the things he told me. He pitched to me when we met before I was done with college. And so that was something I definitely had to deal with. It was hard to trust people going into, my agency I'm in now. The same one that I transitioned to, but then never mind. I'm sorry. I can't get into that. But yeah, I ended up in Arizona. Probably one of the best things for me at the time.
Yeah.
It was a team that reminded me a lot of Ohio State, and I hate to be that guy that is always, Ohio State's this, Ohio State's that, but Ohio State had a very different air around it when it came to the brotherhood that we had there.
Yeah.
I've talked to a lot of people, a lot of other players who have played at other colleges, and we had something different. We had a culture that was built different, and we, like my brothers to this day, I have things that I feel like I can't talk with anybody except them. Like my heart, like my worst things in my head, I feel like I can't talk to anybody except for them. And it's still something I'm working on now. I feel like nobody understands in a way.
Yeah.
It's hard for me to to get a grip on the things that we went through, and kind of created a different bond for us at Ohio State, and we just they really carried it carried me through the process. So my best friend is a year ahead of me in everything. So 2 years ahead of me in terms of his career, but a year older than me. But he's like a big brother to me, and he kind of carried me through and helped me through that whole process. So he talked to me about what to look for, what he did that was wrong, his thought processes when he's going to these teams, and you can't think about, oh, holy shit, I'm about to block Chandler Jones. Like, you can't think about that.
Yeah.
You can't think about names anymore. You have to think about numbers.
Yeah.
So that he kind of helped me through that process, and in Arizona, it was, like I was saying, it was different. Everybody really had a love for each other that you don't see in the NFL, that I definitely didn't see in my time in Carolina. And that's not a shot at Carolina. They were a team that's going through change. First year NFL head coach, all that, I get it.
Yeah.
But the Cardinals had it down. I mean, it was this close team that felt like they would do anything for each other. So I think that was a great place for me to be at the time, because I felt like I had that support in my career, and coaches that really cared about me. And so I think I get worse off when I feel like that there's nobody there, yeah. In a sense, in my career.
Yeah.
But yeah. So I think Arizona was just a beautiful place for me. It was a great timing.
So you think that Arizona, their approach to mental health, supporting their players, far above everybody else, it's.
I'm trying to think, mental health wise. Yeah. I think we talked about it more with the Cardinals than I did with the Panthers. So it was a topic that was, I think we dedicated a whole 4-hour meeting or 3-hour meeting to it.
Oh wow!
It was yeah, and we were like
Yeah.
getting into talking to each other about our thoughts and listing off our experiences, and you got D-Hop up there telling his whole life story, and it's it's really a form of therapy.
Yeah.
I mean, you're sitting listening to these guys, everything they went through, and everyone's experience is different. Nobody's any harder than anybody else's, because we all have a different perception of what hard is.
Yeah.
And you can't really change that as humans. But it was definitely. Yeah, I would say the Cardinals were more a little bit more inclusive on mental health.
So let's talk about where you're at today. Like, have you learned what things trigger, your dark paths and your downward spirals? Like, have you kind of learned what those are and how to actually identify those and manage those?
Yes and no. I mean, it's kind of something I don't ever foresee myself having to not think about it anymore. I think it's something that I'm always going to have to think about, and I'm always going to have to be constantly getting better. But there's a lot. I think there's a lot I could probably touch on. I would say, I'm trying to think. Oh man, can you repeat the question one more time?
Yeah, have you learned, what things trigger your downward spirals? Like, have you learned how to identify them and how to manage them?
Yeah. So kind of how I've been the past few months. I get a lot more when I'm in my happiest state. I'm very vocal, very outwardly happy. I show it, because I want to show it, because I want to make other people happy.
Yeah.
Because I know if I see some dude smiling down the street, I'm like, what is this dude smiling at? And all of a sudden, I'm smiling. And so, I know when my biggest thing is when that goes away, when I get quiet. Yeah. That's my biggest tell is when I get quiet, something's wrong.
Yeah.
I'll just shut down, and I think that's the biggest thing for me of not showing my emotions and not showing people that I'm hurting is I'll just shut down completely and just nah, bro, I'm just tired. Are you okay, bro? No, I'm just tired. That's it.
I'm the same way, man. And that's my answer too. When people say that to me, it's like, are you okay? I'm like, yeah, man, just long day, tired, didn't sleep last night. Like,
absolutely.
And they leave you alone.
Absolutely.
They don't ask any further questions.
Yeah.
But
absolutely. And I think that's a big problem. And I think a lot of people need to really hone in on their friends more, because you can really see a lot of those things. And something I've kind of noticed going through my own mental health journey is I've started to be able to pay more attention to my friends and to their cues when I know that they're off, and not just letting them be off. So whether it be I could tell something's off, I'm just going through a little something, I'll be okay. Hey, bro, no, let's talk about it. Yeah. Like, no, I'm sorry, I love you, bro. Like, let's talk about it. Like, me and my friend, like, two of my best friends live here. One of them lives in Dallas. The one in Dallas, I'm like, nah, call me. It doesn't matter what time to call me, man. I don't give a fuck if it's 6 a.m. for you. Call me. Like, we need to have this conversation, and something that's kind of helped me grow as a man and as a person is to have those difficult conversations. Something I'm still trying to definitely still trying to work on. But yeah,
I think that's what we need more of, especially as young men in this country. Is we need to encourage each other to have these conversations with each other. Like, there's no stigma. It's like, if one of my friends came to me and said, "Oh man, I'm going through some shit. Do you have a minute to talk?" I'm not going to call him a pussy and tell him to fuck off.
Yeah.
It's
right.
like, we're all going through some shit, man. Like, it doesn't matter if you think it's little or if it's big. Like, your friends are here to listen.
Yeah. No, and I think I don't know if you've seen. I watched another podcast called the Pivot Podcast. It has Channing Frye, Fred Taylor, and Ryan Clark on it.
Another one.
That's one of my favorite podcasts I have ever seen. I think it might be my favorite because they're just so real, and they're not afraid to have those conversations at all.
Yeah.
And one of the things they've helped me a lot. Just listening and just hearing their experiences and what the things that they think about. I'm like, I think about the same thing. Like one of the biggest things for me that I picked up off their podcast was, and that I think personally every football player thinks about, whether they know it or not, is one of the things that's kind of scared me now, and as I go through my battles with depression now, and in the past is this depression or is this CTE? And they kind of voiced that, and it was something that kind of blew my mind because it was like, holy shit.
Yeah.
I've been thinking like that too. I just didn't know it. It's a tough line to kind of figure out because it's such an unknown disease.
Yeah.
And you don't know what the all the symptoms are. You don't know like what you're gonna be like, what you're gonna act like, and so that's another kind of thing that's tough on I would say athletes specifically, contact sports athletes, soccer players. Shit, everybody gets concussions.
Yeah.
But it's just kind of having those moments of depression and anxiety, and you know, even if they reach their heights, it's like, whoa, like I don't know if this is depression or if this is CTE.
Yeah.
And it's scary. It's terrifying. It's something I had a moment like 3 weeks ago, a month ago, where it was like, man, was that CTE or was that like, do I feel this way because of football, because I'm messed up, or is it because of my depression? So that's another kind of thing that I've like started to talk about and to think about a lot. And I think their podcast does wonders. I mean, specifically for athletes, but for everybody. Yeah, they're really, there's some grown men on that podcast, and they're not afraid to talk about the issues that need to be talked about. So it's cool, very cool. Like you said, I love that we're doing this now, and I love that we're able to. I don't care how many people watch this. I don't care if it's 1 million. I don't care if it's 100,000. I don't care if it's one. As long as one person, you know, feels moved or feels changed, and it's all worth it.
I mean, that was our mission when we started, man. It's just like, it's not even just getting people to listen, but like it's normalizing these conversations with people. Like everybody has a story, you know. It's like, you know, everybody's story is unique, you know. But depression again doesn't discriminate. Like, it doesn't, you know. No. It's you got, you know, guys like you that have gone through like so much shit in their lives and still overcome. And you got like, you know, say Chester Bennington from Lincoln Park, who struggled with shit his entire life, was a fucking rock star, and then just kills himself one day. Like, you know, like this shit's just gotta start and stop somewhere.
Yeah,
you know.
No, absolutely, absolutely. It's definitely a topic that's not talked about enough. And I'm saying this as a person who's amazed at the world right now and seeing in the change that we are already having with mental health. But still, I don't think it's enough.
Yeah,
I'm
with you on that one.
I think mental health is the core to everything, to how we act, how we think, how we speak, how we everything in our life. It literally all starts up here.
Yeah.
So
I'm with you on that one.
Yeah, definitely.
So when you think about, like, you know, your darkest times, like, what has your depression taught you about yourself?
I would say my depression has taught me that I'm a lot stronger than I think I am. Going through not only the physical challenges, but the mental challenges that came with my injury, as well as with my depression and my anxiety. Like, looking back on it, it's like, whoa. Like this, like I think about my struggles as a 14-year-old, and I'm like, well, why wouldn't I be able to get through that?
Yeah. Because
look at what I just went through. Look at what I just did a month ago. Like, what? Look at the thoughts I was having, and it's all in the big picture. So, you know, I'm doing small things throughout my day to recognize that I'm recognizing small things throughout my day that I'm doing differently now because I've been through the shit. I've worked through the shit, and this is life. There's gonna be so much more shit.
Yeah.
But now in my head, we got it. I'm good. People. I'll be at my job. I'll be at football. People are panicking. Hey, we're good. It'll all work itself out. Just trust yourself. Trust your abilities. Trust your training. Trust your mind, and trust each other, and we'll get through it. Like, there's nothing. In my head, and my battles aren't nearly as bad as some other people, but I've been through what I've been through. What's gonna stop me? Like, I was a 14-year-old sitting in my basement thinking about killing myself. Like, what? And now I'm here. What? Like, what else? What else does life have for me that I can't handle?
Was that? I mean, on the topic of suicide, was that the only time you thought about killing yourself?
No.
No.
I thought about it in 2017. Shortly after actually a few months after my injury, and then I thought about it in August. I'll be completely honest. I thought about it at the end of August after I got released. Like I say, it's an ongoing battle. This is something that never goes away, and I'm not expecting it to go away. I'm just expecting my responses to be different, and that's just kind of weird. But yeah, that was definitely. I would say those are the only 3 times.
Did you call? Yeah. Did you call anybody? You tell anybody anything? Or did you just pack it away?
Call my best friends immediately. Kind of some issues I was going with at the time. I had my significant other involved, so my first reaction, reach out to my best friends, and wow. You don't really know you have best friends until things like that happen.
Yeah.
Because to see people come around me and to support me, and not only that, but to tell the people who they know can help me even more. Like, I was never going to tell my agent that. I was never going to tell anybody that I was going through that, except for them. But they told, and boy, was I mad that they told. Man, I was mad that they told. But we're good. Like, now it's like, wow, it's such a freeing feeling to be able to open up and to be able to talk about the things and not feel like you're alone in it. Because little did I know, a few months earlier, one of my best friends thought about doing the exact same thing. He was kind of in the same position where he doesn't know if football is done yet or not. He's not on a team, and he said he thought about the exact same thing, and he kind of walked me through what he did and the steps he needed to take to get himself right and in a better state of mind. But it's kind of just crazy. Like, you really never know what anybody's going through. And for me just to reach out and to tell them that I'm going through this, now I found out, whoa, my best friend, even though he's my best friend, this is someone I look up to. And he went through the same thing. Like, we got and again, that was another sense of, I got this.
Yeah.
Like, if my brother can get through it and my brother's right next to me, I can do it. It doesn't matter.
So the camaraderie is right there.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And like I said, going back to the brotherhood, it's like, I feel like I have 2 little baby sisters. They're 8 and 9 years old now. And God willing, they never see this podcast. I am like these 3 friends I have are my brothers. Like, I really feel like I connected to them in a sense that is even more so than with my significant other. Like we have something different. And I don't know how to know how to describe it.
I got the same thing with my friends, man. Like, I 100% understand what you're talking about.
Like, I'll go to battle with these dudes. I'll do they call me, I got to hop on a plane to go help somebody. whatever.
Yeah.
I don't care. I'll cancel everything in my life for them. I'll go broke for them. Doesn't matter. So yeah, to have them there was a big help, and was, I think, the biggest difference in when I was 14 and in 2017 to how I was in 2021. Kind of guided me, and my own brain was like, nah, you gotta call him. You have to call him. And it made world of a difference, because it was nowhere near either of those times that I had in the past. And it was immediate support, immediate help. I'm talking to somebody every day. My friends are checking in on me every other day minimum. And I have just this support system that I have my wife, I have my kids. Like, it's crazy. And it's crazy to think about now. Like, I had kids and I was having those same thoughts. Like, depression, it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter what you have around you. It doesn't matter how much happiness is in your life. It was only going to make you focus on the bad.
Yeah. And
you are going to see none of that. Yeah. None of the happiness, none of the consequences of what you will do, of what your actions will do, none of that. You don't think about any of that.
It just clouds everything,
Absolutely. You know? Absolutely. Everything is bad at that point. Good shit is bad.
Exactly, man. Like, I just really remember some of my things, like, especially the happiest moments of my life. And I'm just like, again, just in this fog, like, what the fuck is going to go wrong? Like, everything's going to go wrong. Like, it's, I get it, Yeah.
Yeah. No, definitely. Definitely.
All right, so you've got a time machine. You can go back to 14-year-old Branden, when he's just starting to realize he's going through the shit, like something's off. Like, what would you tell him?
Go tell your mom.
Yeah.
Go talk to your mom. Because she will not judge you.
Yeah.
She will not think anything of you, not think you're any weaker, not think you're a failure. Just go tell her and she will help you. That was, if I could have done anything when I was 14, it's talk to my mom.
Yeah.
Let her know, because talk to that person that you have in your life, because I promise you they're not going to look at you like with pity or with and I mean somebody you really trust. Like, I don't like all these other people. Some people like to pity you, but like with my brothers, with my mom, with my wife, none of them ever pitied me. They never looked at me like I was less than them.
Yeah.
That made all the difference for me. It was like, okay, even though I'm going through this, I'm just like you still. I'm still the same person.
Yeah.
I'm still the same me. I'm just going through some shit right now.
Yeah.
We're going to get through that shit. But while we're going through it, it is what it is. So, got to face it. Got to take it on.
Yeah.
You got to be honest with you. Just got to be honest with yourself.
Yeah.
Can't keep lying to yourself. Can't keep drinking the pain away. Can't keep smoking the pain away. Can't keep doing all this stuff to keep everything away. You got to face it eventually.
Yeah.
Or else your whole life's going to fall apart.
Just eat you up eventually, man.
Yeah. It's quite literally debilitating.
Yeah.
You can't move. Can't even feel like you can get out of bed.
Yeah,
So, yeah.
I'm very familiar with that.
Yeah.
So what's next for you, man? Like, what's what?
Man, big question mark. But a lot of good in my future. I've been blessed enough to have family and friends around me that have opened up opportunities for me that go beyond football, that go beyond everything. I have friends that want to go into business in Phoenix, just opening up like nightclubs, stuff like that. Nice. Right now, I'm actually working so my entire family is they used to work in nursing homes. So my grandfather was a CEO, vice president of Kindred Healthcare, this nursing home company. My mom's an administrator at a nursing home. So right now I'm working in a nursing home. So I'm training to become an administrator.
That's awesome.
And let me tell you, that is one of the best things I could have ever done for my mental health.
Oh, really?
Because it's a constant reminder of how great I truly have it. And nothing, I don't know if it's a type of person thing or just for everybody, but when I help people, there's no better feeling I can get in life than that. And so, you know, I'm talking to the resident we have in bed, or in room 30, bed 1. She's over there bawling her eyes out. She has no idea what a place like this is. She just had her 6th stroke in the past 2 years.
Wow.
She has no family around her. She has nobody around her. And she's just scared. And she just needs somebody to talk to. So I take 30 minutes out of my every day I'm at work to go and talk to this resident, because it's just like, one, why wouldn't I? I have the time.
Yeah.
And 2, I have learned so much. I've learned so much about life from these. I mean, these are people at the last years of their life. They're telling me everything there is to tell me. Like, they're giving me, I almost feel like I'm being handed keys. Like they're talking about all the issues they're going through, and you know they're telling me things that they're proud of my generation for, of things that we're doing that is so innovative, that is so different than what they did in their generation. It's just the feeling of my problems are so small, and I don't mean that in a way of belittling my depression and my anxiety, but like yeah, I'm going through this right now, but that person's going through something way worse than I am. Why can't I help them? That person is stuck living in here for the rest of their life until they die, and their family member won't even visit them. Like, what? And you're telling me I'm over here doing what I do in football, and I'm like, I don't even know what to say in a way. It's just
gives you perspective, you know, like
yeah. It makes you realize just, and I know how to say it now. I wouldn't say it as like belittling, but it's just it highlights the good so much more, and it really puts the spotlight on them. Like this small thing that you thought was so small has now become such a mountain effect for this person and for this person's life. Yeah. This person might die tomorrow. Guess what? You just gave them a great last day of their life. You just made their day. You just made their week. Like, and to be able to be in the position to do something like that is just amazing. That's amazing. I mean, to hold this grown person in my hands and just have him bawling in my shoulder is just like different. Yeah. Really, really different feeling.
That's awesome, man. That's awesome.
And, yeah.
Branden, man, I appreciate so much you came on today. Yeah, I mean, your story is amazing. You know, like
appreciate that.
You've gone through some shit, and you know, here you are today, man. Like, and I'm looking forward to seeing you back on the field. You know, I want to see that.
Hey, I'm like I said at the beginning. I think it was probably before we started. I'm working out at 6 a.m. in the morning. Yeah. Going to work at 8. Get home 5. Take care of the kids, and I'm streaming at 8. So it's a grind right now, but it's something I definitely have not given up on, and it's something I definitely am still full steam ahead for.
You got this, man. You got it.
Oh yeah, for sure, for sure.
Okay, man. Thanks for coming on, and yeah, to everybody out there, when you're going through some shit, like, call your best friend, tell your mom, like tell somebody,
DM me. I always tell people on Twitter, DM me. I'll answer. You just tell me, hey, I just need to talk. Yeah. Hey, got you. Just need to talk for 20 minutes. I don't judge anybody. I got you. Just hit the DMs.
I appreciate it, man. And, again, thank you.
Yeah, of course. I appreciate you having me on. And, hey, y'all like the podcast, do whatever y'all do.
Hey, catch Branden on Twitch, man. He's, I mean, you're not on Warzone anymore, right? You're Apex guy. We'll
see when Warzone 2 comes out. I might make a transition back, but as of right now, Apex guy only, for sure.
I don't know, man. I can't do it. Thanks again, man. I appreciate it.
Of course, man.
Right,
have a good night.
See you later.